Technical difficulties have been behind us. So we are back here on the Blue Review presented by LAX. Before we go too far, I do want to give a shout out to the folks at LA International Airport, transforming the travel experience, saving guest time. Looking forward to the People Mover train, which hopefully will be up and running early in 2026. So for more information, you can go to flylax.com/transforming LAX. Before we were so rudely interrupted by our Wi-Fi connection here, Richard, you were starting to talk about some of the games you went to, and you have a list. I mean, you got a pretty notable list.
It's a great list
of landmark Dodger games that you have been through. You just run through some of them for us.
Yeah, the first two was my dad took me to those. He worked with Prime Ticket for a while ago, so that's why we got a lot of those tickets. We went to the Kirk Gibson home run. I actually stuck around for that one. Wasn't one of those cars in the parking lot.
You weren't the taillights?
No. And we were at the Fernando no hitter. That was a big one. We were sitting there counting down outs, so that was fun. And then the last two, which I took my son to, we were at the Boston 18-inning game.
Wow.
We did leave a little early. He was pretty young. And then we were at the. That was epic. I knew something was going to happen that day. It just had the feel with everything going on in the city with Fernando. I had that feeling, and we had to go.
So that's kind of crazy. So you were at the Kirk Gibson and the Freddie Freeman. I was at the Freddie Freeman also. So that was one of the greatest experiences of my lifetime. Mm-hmm. So what did you see? What the relation between the two? Like, how did it feel on each one? Did one feel different than the other, or you're like, oh my God, it's deja vu?
Honestly, it felt the same, because after each one of them, you walked away knowing they were going to win the World Series. You were like, that hit just won the World Series for them. There's no way the other teams, after having their heart ripped out, and even though it takes some games to get there, that feeling when you walk away, you're just on cloud nine.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So you're wearing a Walker Buehler jersey.
Yes.
So Walker Buehler, and it's signed, right? Like stand up a little bit, show the back so we can see the signature.
I don't know if you can get there.
Yeah, if we could go.
There it is.
Got it.
There we go. Yep, got it. Sorry, I'm not trying to mess with your headset there.
Yeah, exactly.
So what about? Obviously, he's amazing, but tell us about your thoughts on Walker Buehler.
I mean, watching the 2020 World Series and 2024, I mean, I feel like he's almost wholly responsible for the. I don't think we win either of those World Series without him. So I love that guy. He's that energy. He's that bulldog mentality that you need. When they were starting to die against the Padres, it was Walker Buehler. Even though he didn't get the win, he rallied them. He screamed at them. He forced them to wake up, and that's the energy we need. I mean, you love to get that back on the pitching staff at the trade deadline.
So we asked the question here on the Blue Review. I don't know if you were watching that episode, because they did the Will Smith final out bobblehead. And we were all sort of the opinion that even though Buehler is not with the Dodgers anymore, that the arms out, final out would have been an amazing. Could they still do that even though he's pitching for another team?
Oh, of course. I mean, I was at the stadium. I almost bought the darn thing. They have a painting. They have a painting of him in that pose that I think he signed. And my wife would kill me if I got it. But I was like, my son and daughter were sitting there telling me like, oh, that's really cool, Dad. I'm like, oh, I know.
Get into a little bit of the Dodgers. Obviously, last night was just an absolute disaster. It was over before the first inning. I have some thoughts on Yamamoto, but what do you think is kind of the issue going on with the Dodgers? All four of these games have all been kind of different, but what have you thought was the issue so far?
Honestly, I think it's kind of just wear and tear and an emotional letdown. I mean, seeing Muncy go down and then Kershaw getting his 3,000, I feel like there was a lot of movement to get to 3,000, and a lot of people were just fighting really hard. And once he hit 3,000 and Muncy goes down, it just feels like the team took a deep breath. And so, I'm sure they'll get back on track. A little timely hitting wouldn't hurt.
Right. And that's kind of what it is. It's the timely hitting. So I think you make a good point, though, that Muncy not being in the middle of that lineup, which is weird to say because at the beginning of the season, there's no way that we would be talking about this, but he has been such a phenomenal piece in the middle of the lineup, especially over the last month and a half, that we're actually kind of missing him, especially when the top of the order is kind of scuffling, when the Shohei, Mookie, Freddie's are all kind of, scuffling a little bit. Pius is kind of coming back down to earth. He was really the guy that was hitting Marcus. So, I mean, missing Muncy is a big portion of why this these 4-game losing streak, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely missing Muncy in the middle of that lineup. I feel like this has sort of been over the last 4 games, kind of everything has gone wrong a little bit. I mean, they're not hitting. The pitching, especially the bullpen, has really struggled. They struggled badly against the Astros, and then you have Yama, who blows up in the first inning yesterday. Um, you know, the nagging injuries with Kike going on the injured list and that sort of thing. It's just, it's a little bit of everything sort of contributing to this 4-game losing streak. But Richard, any reason we shouldn't panic though, correct?
Nah, all we got to do is get to the playoffs in first place, and we'll be fine. You know, with the injuries working themselves out, hopefully, where we get at least 4 starting pitchers. Right? Last year we did it with 3. If we could have 4, that would be lovely.
So I think go ahead, Parker.
Well, I was just gonna say, Richard, getting back on track and getting towards that, playoff spot and getting into first place, you got to be at the top of your game, and of course, the Dodgers do so often. What have you seen this season overall that is like your biggest success? Not if it's not just like the Yamamotos of the season who did have maybe a rough weekend, but maybe a Pajes, somebody who's been your biggest success story of this season.
Pajes has been great, but honestly, I love the fact that if you look at the record, going into like late innings, it's not great, but then they keep coming back, right? Like they keep coming back, and that's the thing I love. It's like you could be down in the 8th, 9th inning, and I think this team, more than a lot of other Dodger teams, they just have that inner belief that they're never out of it. And oh, we're down by 3. Oh, great, we won by 4. Lovely.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? But they have I think the last stat I saw is that they have 10 more comeback wins than any other team in baseball. So that's the way that this mindset kind of looks at. The one thing that I do want to get to when it comes to Yamamoto is that this is not the first time that he's done this. The last time he did this, where he didn't get he was just terrible in the first inning, was in Korea last year in his first game, and he got through 1 inning and that was it. And what it turned out to had happened, sorry, the coffee's not hitting me, is that he was tipping. He was tipping pitches, and was right off the bat. They noticed something. I wonder if that's what's happening yesterday, that the Brewers saw something and he was tipping something there, because that is not a typical Yoshinobu Yamamoto start. It happens every once in a while, but I wonder if he was maybe tipping something, because there was a couple splitters that landed right at the bottom of the zone, like were perfect pitches, maybe even tipped the bottom of the zone, and they just laid off it. So I don't know if that's something that's going on, but there's got to be some kind of explanation of why he was so bad in Milwaukee.
Yeah, it didn't feel right. Something about it was wrong. I'm right now just gonna say, hey, look, it was a bad day. It sort of stinks that it happens at a time, in the midst of a losing streak, when you were hoping that he could come in and be the stopper. And then them obviously having to go to the bullpen really early. Not optimal. So I don't know how this works out for the rest of the series. Not particularly great. Hey, Richard, we appreciate you hanging out here, man. I'm sorry we had technical difficulties, but it was fun to talk to you. And hopefully you enjoy the rest of the season. Any shout outs you want to give though before we go?
Yeah, real quick, to my son, Evan Jacobs, like I think said before, I don't know if we were on the thing. He just won the Division 40 All-Stars for 14U. Going to be starting baseball at high school soon next year. He was a pitcher in the championship game and got the win, so that was huge. And then my daughter, who's been a all-star soccer player, striker for her travel team, Juliet Jacobs. So the two of them, and then obviously, if you need any real estate law, Richard Jacobs Law.
Yeah,
there it is. Hey, man, we appreciate you hanging out. Hopefully we can chat again soon. Would be absolutely outstanding. In the meantime, think blue, go Dodgers. We appreciate you, and your charity, your donations, and all of that. That allows you to kind of hang out with us. So that's fantastic. For the rest of you out there, those of you who hung around in the chat, I know Bubba Holmberg has been. Yeah, Bubba Holmberg has been very busy, saying it all rests on Conforto now. Time for the reverse villain jinx to kick in. But stick around, because Richard will be on First Pitch, which is coming up right after us. Of course, we'll also have Travis and DeMarco on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. So thanks to Bubba Holmberg and everybody else who hung out in the chat today. For Richard, for Parker, for Greg, I am Marcus. This has been the Blue Review presented by LAX. Dodgers, of course, play again today, trying to break this losing streak in Milwaukee. Back with you tomorrow. Talk all about it, 8:30, 8:55 here on the ESPN.